Hey everybody, it's Angie, also known as The Light. Welcome to my channel. Click like as you come in. I don't know who's up. I really don't even know who's up. But I said, you know what? I am not tired yet, so let me get on. And someone asked me to talk about toxic narcissistic friendships. And I'm actually going through this now. So I'm like, you know what? Let me do this now. Pretty much. I don't like this lighting. I'm gonna switch out my lighting. When you come in the chat, click like for me, please. Subscribe, click like. I'm gonna wait to see if a few more people's gonna come in. I got my margarita. Let me see. Okay. I'm gonna talk anyway, even if someone does not come in the chat. Let me find myself on my channel through my laptop. I didn't make no announcement that I was gonna go live, so I don't really expect that many people to come in. But at the same time, I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come in before I start the topic. Just gonna put my donation information in the chat. If you want to book a convo with me, you can do so. So I've been booking more and more convos, which I actually enjoy doing. I love helping y'all overcome narcissistic abuse or just, any situation in general. You can book with me. It does not have to be about narcissism. It could be about spiritual experiences, issue with a zodiac sign, something like that. It does not necessarily have to be about narcissism. So I'm going to put my donation information and booking information in the chat. So when you want to book a conversation with me, you have to make your payment first. Your slot isn't saved until you make your payment. Then you can email me at neoang3000@yahoo.com, or you can put it in the memo. I'm going to see that you sent something. If you send it through Cash App, I automatically will see it. But if you send it through Zelle or PayPal, shoot me an email and let me know that you made your donation, or you made you made a payment for booking, okay, for a conversation with me. And then I email you back and we figure out what day is best for us to talk, basically, okay? Don't get upset if I'm not available that day, because I am a hairstylist and I do have a life, so I'm not always home and available to talk every single day. All right, let me just put this here quickly and then I'm gonna start the topic. Let me see. Hope all is well to those who just came into the chat. When you come in the chat, click like for me, guys, even if you decide to leave. But I've been booking people and it's been going pretty well. So I want to build up my clientele until I'm officially certified. Thank you for the likes. Okay, let me see. Cash App. If you have any questions about narcissistic or toxic friends, you can put it in the chat, and when I go to read it, I will answer them, okay? All right, that went through. So is everyone's city shutting down now? Because I know I live in New York and they're shutting down already. They're starting this thing talking about the numbers are going up because of the big C. I don't know how true that is, But starting today, schools are closed. And what else they're doing now? Oh, yeah, last week they started with, oh, everything has to close down at 10 p.m. So I guess because it's winter, they're really expecting the numbers to rise, or they're planning something else. I don't know. But I saw this coming, and I think they're gonna try to mess with our travel as well. You know, if we don't get the vaccine, then maybe that means that we can't travel. That's what I think is what they're gonna try to do next. All right, let me put this Zelle here and PayPal info, so that way I don't have to stop when I'm talking. I know it's late. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, so I know some of you are probably asleep for work or school or something like that. But I was like, you know what? I have the energy. Let me get on now. All right, here's my info. So, yeah, when you make that book, when you make your payment, it's $15 for 30 minutes and $30 for 1 hour. So, let me see. And $30 for 1 hour. Okay. So, I feel like 2020 has been, I call it the year of 2020 vision. Okay. So, this isn't just about narcissism. This is about um, the relationships in our life. Okay. But for those of us who have suffered from narcissism, I feel like we take friendship very seriously. Okay. And I noticed that I have taken friendship very seriously, because if you grew up with a negative family, or you grew up with narcissistic parents, narcissistic family, it's kind of like we look at our friends like a new family for us. So we try to rebuild whatever we couldn't get at home. We try to rebuild that. I think without us really noticing it, we try to rebuild that through our friendships. So we get to choose our friendships, but we don't really get to we don't get to choose our family. So I noticed that because of the narcissistic family members that I had, the lack of love, the lack of validation, the lack of attention. So it's like we not kind of, but we seek that validation from friendships, right? So I really, really, really took on my friends, and I was trying to shape and mold them. So I went through it's embarrassing to even talk about, guys. It's really embarrassing to even talk about the kinds of friends that I allowed in my life, just so I can have somebody there. And I think a lot of us empaths, or people who suffered from narcissistic abuse, whether it was a relationship or, it was growing up, in our household, I think we all did it. We all let people treat us like shit. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, some of us, we do not choose these narcissists to come into our life. Okay, great. Let's say that you don't choose. You don't expect to go out of your house and meet narcissists. You didn't choose to have a narcissistic parent, or relatives, siblings, whatever the case is. Cool. But once you have the information, once you know the signs of narcissism, after that you are responsible. Okay. Before that, I get it. You didn't choose for these people to be in your life, okay? And because of how you were treated at home, you thought it was cool. So this is why a lot of people grow up, they see their father beating their mother, so they grow up to beat their wife. Or the girl sees her father beating her mother, so she grows up and then she attracts an abuser. So we have to take in consideration that how we grew up in the household was the blueprint of what we thought was correct. Okay, so we weren't in other people's houses. I'm sure when you were a kid, you go to your friend's house and you're like, oh, damn, they got lots of snacks, or they got lots of games, or, all these different things that you notice that you didn't have that at your house. I didn't fart, that was my chair. All these different things that you didn't have in your household. It could have been material wise, or it could have been emotional wise. It could have been love wise. But then you notice that, but it doesn't matter what's going on in your friend's house. How you were raised becomes that blueprint of the things that you're going to accept. People only treat you how you treat yourself and what you allow. I know. You're like, but I didn't ask them to treat me that way. But at the end of the day, when you think about it, the narcissistic friends that we allowed in our life, the toxic friends that we allowed in our life, we actually just stood there a lot of times and we allowed it. I know I did. I allowed it. Why? Because I thought it was normal. I thought people talking to me in the old kind of way. I thought the games, I thought the abuse, I thought all that toxic things. I thought that love and friendship was when a person mistreated me. I thought the more they mistreated me, that meant they were that ride or die. The more we got through, the more things they did, and we made it through that friendship or that relationship. I thought it was like, wow, so just, we've been through so much. You ever hear people like, yeah, him and I together, but we've been through so much. What, he's been cheating on you and you are sitting there allowing him to cheat on you, or her to cheat on you? That's not going through a lot. Going through a lot is when you're hit with things that you can't control in life. Okay, but when somebody is deliberately treating you like shit, calling you out your name, not being there for you, not being supportive, but yet you're there for them in all kinds of ways of their areas of their life. They're not being a friend to you. They're not being a lover to you. And you're just like, yeah, we just been through so much. And no. Another thing I keep hearing people saying when I'm counseling those who suffered from narcissistic, abuse, whether it's friendship or whether it's a romantic relationship or their mother or their father, I keep hearing them say, but they're good sometimes. What? What? I even watch crime shows, and when they interview, like, the parents, or the family and friends of the person, the spouse that murdered their loved one, they always say that. They're like, yeah, she always used to say, or he always used to say, but I'm telling you, they have a bad side, but they're good sometimes. Why do we do this? I'm telling you why you do this, because of how you grew up, the household that you grew up in, what you're used to, your lack of self-esteem, your lack of self-love. How is it that you're holding on to someone who's a piece of shit? When you come in the chat, click like for me, guys. How can you hold on to somebody that's a piece of shit, but they're good sometimes? If a person is good sometimes, listen, I'm not saying nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect. But if they're treating you like an asshole 90%, 80%, 70% of the time, and just that 10%, just that 20% of the time, they're good to you, they're not a good person. The proof is in the pudding already. They're not a good person. And that little hope, that used to keep me, okay? I tell you guys, I used to attract, and it's crazy because, like, I grew up with, my biological father was a narcissist. My stepfather who raised me was a narcissist. My father's mother was a narcissist. So I grew up around a lot of narcissism. My father's sister ended up marrying a narcissist. So when I would go over to my aunt's house, I would see how her husband treated her. You think children aren't paying attention. A lot of you who have children with narcissists, they're paying attention. And guess what? When they grow up, they're going to naturally, energetically attract narcissistic lovers and narcissistic friends. Guys, I believe my first close narcissistic friendship, I was 8. I was 8 years old. So I met my first narcissistic friend when I was 8 years old. And it's funny how even narcissistic children, they have this, what is this? They have this cockiness to them even at a young age. They have this disrespect for people even at a young age. And looking back at all the narcissistic friends that I met, let me see if anyone's talking in the chat. Nope, no one's talking in the chat. Okay. When I think back to it, I remember the first time I met this narcissistic girl. So I was in school, I was in third grade, and I'm in gym class. So in New York, I went to public school, so they would put two classes in the same gym class. I don't know if they do that everywhere in every state, every country. So they would put two different classes. So she wasn't in my class, but they would say, oh, find a partner. So, to do certain activities. So I remember, meeting this narcissistic best friend who ended up being my best friend for many, many years. And I remember going up to her and saying, hey, do you want to play with me? Like, do you want to be my partner? And I remember, keep in mind, we're 8. I know kids can be cruel, but we're 8. This narcissistic friend, she looked at me. I'll never forget it. I am 37 years old, and she did this when we were 8. She looked at me up and down, and she was just like, I don't want to play with you. And she literally just ran off. And, as the weeks go by, being the empath, being the child that wants acceptance, that wasn't getting that love and attention at home, seeing the abuse, seeing my narcissistic father cheat on my mother, beat on my mother, being abusive to me. Okay, that breaks down that child's self-esteem and awareness of demons, awareness of narcissistic friends. As the weeks go by, I guess she was just like, oh, this is somebody who I can run and play with. You know what I'm saying? So she took me on as her friend. She didn't have many friends. And I noticed that a lot of narcissists, they know a lot of people, but they really don't have friends like that. And that's because they aren't good friends. Okay, they're not good friends. They're just surrounded by a lot of people. And when you talk to narcissists, they're always just like, everyone always leaves me. They always have this story. Everyone always leaves me. And, I wasn't loved, or I'm not getting that attention, or whatever the case is. So this little girl that I met, she ended up having a very young mother. Okay, so she ended up having a very young mom, who ended up getting with a young man. When I think back to it, her mother was narcissistic. Her mother ended up with her mom was maybe 25 at the time when she's 8. And her mother ended up getting with an 18-year-old. Okay, so just think about the levelness, the kind of mother she had, right? And I remember when I go to this little girl's house, it was weird. It seemed very separate. It seemed like her mother pushed her to the side and started another new family with her new boyfriend and her 2 kids, her 2 twins. I noticed that. So she spent a lot of time with her grandparents who spoiled her. So keep in mind, a lot of narcissistic children, it doesn't necessarily mean all the time that they were beat, or that they were molested or something bad happened to them. A lot of times they just wasn't given the love, or they weren't given the attention. They weren't given the affection. So I think that was the reason why she turned out to be narcissistic. Her grandparents saw that lack of love and they spoiled her. Okay, so very early on, I think because growing up in that narcissistic home, what happens to us is that a lot of us don't become narcissists, we become fixers. We become the empath, we become fixers. So we like to take on people We are going to easily forgive. Keep in mind, our pain tolerance, our bullshit tolerance is extra high. So, guys, if you're somebody who is healing from that narcissistic abuse, I'm letting you know now. Your tolerance to bullshit is extremely high. Yes, we all have a limit, and it took me years to reach my limit. Like with my narc ex best friend, it took me 8 years. That's a long time of abuse, of the back and forth, of the bullshit, of the arguing, of me hitting him, or me being him taking me out of my character, or me throwing things across the room, like all of that craziness and drama. It took me 8 years of that bullshit, that narcissistic abuse, that horrible toxic friendship to realize, okay, this is a game. And I said this to someone who I did a phone session with. Y'all can book me for phone sessions. I said this to somebody on the phone who I was counseling, and she didn't really get it. I was just talking to someone about this the other day, a major realization for myself, and I just turned 36. Exactly. Yes, yeah, we're, it doesn't matter how old we are, but I was late in the game too. I didn't cut off the last bit. I'm 37 now. I didn't cut off the last bit of narcissistic. I cut off 20 people out of my life back in 2015, 2016. So I'm like, what, 31, 32 at that time? That's late in the game, but it's better late than never, right? So, going back, I know I'll be all over the place. Going back to this little girl, and I stayed friends with this narcissistic chick from age 8 to 26. Okay. And I was always her supply. And it was always a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. And that's something that you also have to notice about these toxic people or these narcissistic friendships. They change personalities very often, and she did too. So she was a covert narc. So she was nerdy, kind of nerdy, insecure. She wore glasses. She wasn't ugly. She wasn't the best looking. She had no type of confidence. She was very tomboyish. But on the other hand, secretly, she was sleeping with a lot of guys. Okay, I remember she went through like a emu type of rocker type of stage. A lot of these narcs, they go through a lot of personality changes. My narcissistic stepsister also, I watched her go from like playing basketball to being militant within like a few months. This is really weird. I remember being young going, what the hell is wrong with her? Why? And it wasn't just a teenager growing up and changing. No, like narcissists, a lot of time they're trying to figure out who they are. They don't know who they are. They've cut off their personality, so they don't know who they are. But anyway, going back to the narcissistic best female friend I used to have, she was the covert. So she was very quiet, very nerdy. She was a Pisces. So she always had on like, loafers with a cardigan, you know what I'm saying? But she was very quiet. She would tell me, I need you to turn down. I need you to like relax yourself because you're just too you're giving me too much attention and I don't like it. Okay, so I went through that with her. She would try to shape and mold me and tell me not to be myself. Okay, so I remember that, but there was never any love. I was there for her entertainment. If she needed somewhere to sleep over when we were in junior high or high school, oh, you better be, home this weekend. I'm coming to your house. I remember her getting into a relationship while we were in our 20s, and she's like, well, you know what? I don't really like my boyfriend, so I'm going to need to start sleeping over your house for the weekend. I'm like, that's inappropriate. Like, your boyfriend's not going to end up liking me. And this happens. the toxic, or narcissistic friend, their significant other stops liking you because they make it seem as if you're taking them away. Because you're their high supply, they give you the attention, or they want to be around you all the time, to the point where their lover feels insecure. Their lover feels like you're doing something inappropriate with that narcissist, even if it's two women or even if it's two men. So this girl was batshit crazy. She was so crazy, and she was definitely this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of character. Um, and I remember, I think I told this story before on my channel. I remember, like, there was a guy I liked, and I liked him since I was like 18, right? And this guy happened to work at her mother's job. So I would tell her, like, oh my gosh, let's just call this guy Gary. Oh my gosh, I like this guy Gary. He's this, he's that, da 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 da, And one day she's like, oh, I found out that Gary, your crush, works at my mom's job. So years later, I found out that she tried to sleep with Gary. And you would never think that. I'm telling you, don't be fooled. Not every narc is the overt type, okay? This girl would meet guys online and just sleep with them, random dudes, okay? I remember her telling me, like, oh, I met this guy, I went on a date with him, I met him online, and we fucked on a train. Like, and I was just like, wait, what? All in the same. And she was like, oh yeah, by the way, he's married. So these people, these narcs, do disgusting things behind the scenes. They look innocent. They appear to be innocent. They hide these behaviors very well. If you saw this girl, you wouldn't even believe that she could do anything like this. So, but I don't, oh yeah, actually she discarded me because she no longer could control me. She couldn't get what she wanted, okay? So, because through time, I became stronger, even though I wasn't aware in my 20s what narcissism was. Let me see what you're saying, Ebony. My best friend's boyfriends never liked me. Like, they couldn't stand me, and I never understood why, but she would be dodging them out. Yeah, the narc does that. They don't want anyone to like you, so they keep everybody separate. So none of the narcissistic friends I had, none of their significant lovers liked me. I think that narcissists go to their lovers and they tell them bullshit. They tell them lies. They tell them, full stories, things that just never happen. Or they'll try to make it seem like you have a crush on them, that you've made a sexual advancement to them. Who knows what they're saying to these lovers? Who knows? But yeah, it's not just about narcissists. It's about toxic people. And I noticed that in 2020, people's character has been revealed like tenfold. It's serious this year. It is so serious. Click like for me, guys, when you come in the chat. If you want to donate to me, the information is in the chat area. Cash App, $ delight 777. If you want to book a convo, you can do that as well. The information is in the chat area. Okay, so I noticed this, and even me as a healed person, it's not that I have narcissists in my life. It's just that when you are vibrating at a certain frequency, because God, I'm spiritual, so try to keep up with me on this, okay? When you're vibrating on a higher frequency, you can no longer be around, date, have sex, with a certain caliber of person. Okay, it's almost like the universe, whatever you want to call it, or God. It's like you're gonna be forced to level up and move away from people who no longer fit your frequency, who no longer fit your lifestyle, who no longer fit your spiritual being, who no longer fits your your way of thinking. Okay, and this has been happening to me on a very, very high level. Okay, to the point where it's almost like I'm allergic to the people that's around me now. I don't feel comfortable. The conversations no longer feed my soul, feed my mind. If you're feeling this way, you're not bugging. It's time to let them go. Whether they're just toxic, whether they're narcissistic, it's time to let them go. And I know it's hard because a lot of us who grew up in toxic environments, you may not be close to your family. You look at your friends as family. We spend a lot of time with coworkers. You spend a lot of time with friends. Sometimes we spend more time with our friends and coworkers than we do our actual family. And I get that. But it is better to be alone than to be around toxic individuals just to say, okay, I have somebody to go to brunch with, or I have somebody to go to the movies with, or I have somebody to call to gossip with. I'm telling you, it is better to let these individuals go. And I'm in that situation right now where I've become silent. I no longer like people who I once considered to be my friend. Okay, I no longer like people who I consider to be associates. And what happens is there's two kinds of people. There's people that during this whole pandemic, during this year, this has been a rough year collectively for the whole entire world, right? Okay, cool. But also spiritually and collectively, we have grown. Okay, the earth got a break from all the transportation, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of see who grew through this time and who didn't grow, right? And you see the person who always complains, who doesn't even notice like making it through this year was a blessing. Okay, if you're understanding me. And I'm noticing who's miserable and who's not miserable. Okay, and I'm not saying we all were miserable at some point during this year. I get it. But if you feel you have outgrown someone, if you're talking to a friend that you used to be able to talk about anything with, and then all of a sudden now it's like you're clashing. Y'all seem like I don't have anything in common. They're not appreciative of making it through this year. They never have anything positive to say. Then you have something good going on in your life and they hating on you. Let them go. I know, I know. And you don't always have to let people go in a dramatic tone. It's sad to say that my way of letting people go has always been I disappear. I'm not going to lie. I sometimes will disappear on people. But if you feel strong enough, you can say to people, look, we outgrew each other. Okay? Especially if somebody violates me, I don't even feel the need to say a goodbye speech to them. So if somebody violates me, I'm not going to give them a speech. I'm not going to give them a goodbye speech. I'm just not going to do it. But if you feel you respect that individual, I would suggest, let them know, like, look, we came to this age and we're no longer getting along, or I no longer feel fed in this friendship, or I no longer feel fed in this relationship, and I don't want to work it out. It's up to you to figure out, because there's some people who may flip on you, who may be dangerous, who who may try to convince you to still stay in the friendship or stay in the relationship. And those are the people that you do sometimes have to ghost them. You know what I'm trying to say? But don't be scared if you bump into them in the street now. Sometimes you just have to let people know that you've outgrown them. It's time to move on. And one thing I realize is anytime I tried to hold on to someone that wasn't meant to be in my life anymore, they blocked my blessings. They blocked my blessings. They held something up. You know what I'm saying? They held something up. So I'm gonna tell y'all, this has something to do with really a friend. So I guess it was a friend, but it was more of a romantic situation. So the beginning of this year, like towards of 2019 and the beginning of this year, there was a guy that I used to be very good friends with him. Very good friends. I don't want to say he's a narcissist, but he definitely is a manipulator and a user, okay? So we were friends for maybe about 7, 8 years before the friendship turned romantic, okay? So keep in mind, we went through so much together. I was there for him. I watched him go through horrible relationships with women. And then I ended up having feelings for him. He ended up having feelings for me. And that's when the friendship turned to a physical, relationship. I'm gonna say probably like around 2014-ish back then. Yes, this was like a while ago. But anyway, because of the lack of because of the lack of respect, because of him, he's attracted to women who treat him like shit, and I would treat him well. So he decided he wanted to deal with toxic women. And this happens to people. And, some people feel comfortable being mistreated by their lover, being mistreated by their friends, and that's because that's the environment they grew up in. That's all they know. Good feels bad, and bad feels good, and you have to let people do that. Anyway, long story short, he found me through Instagram and was stalking my Instagram page. And that's how we ended up speaking again the beginning of this year. So we ended up speaking again. We linked back up. And guys, after us meeting up, this guy then tells me he lives with a woman. Okay. Now, a lot of people were feeling very desperate in 2020. A lot of people who grew up in, abusive homes, abusive just had to be, hitting, but just toxic homes, okay? They would have entertained that type of relationship, okay? And immediately, just like that, the old me would have probably dealt with him still, and would have been, wanted to believe, because he was telling me like, oh, I'm not really with her, it's just hard right now, I can't afford my own rent, so I'm just gonna live with her. And I'm like, this is bullshit. Immediately he got cut off, okay? And a lot of you, when I'm counseling you, I'm hearing these type of stories, whether it's romantic or whether it's just a friendship, and y'all are entertaining shit like this. Y'all are entertaining friendships that no longer serve you, okay? And it was tough to cut him off because we had been friends for years. I met this guy like 12 years ago, okay? So it was difficult to cut him off, but sometimes the people you've known the longest, they will do you the dirtiest, okay? Let me see if anyone's saying anything in the chat. Oh, hey, Egypt. Sorry, I was yapping. Hey, Essential. These people know what they're doing. Exactly. They know what they're doing. I tried to rekindle and make up with a couple of people who was jealous of me, and I thought it could show them it's not a reason not to be jealous. Nope, you can't do that. You cannot. Zemi, hello. Perfect timing for you. Awesome. Sorry, I was just yapping away. True, they do block out blessings. I got confirmation this past Monday. He's my daughter's dad, and he's a narcissist. Yes, please just keep it cordial with him for your daughter, and that's it, because we just can't entertain these people at all. But yeah, so long story short, I cut his ass off quick. And that is funny. I laughed about it because I was like, yo, I have healed, I'm thinking, Egypt. I was in my head like, yo, I did heal. Like, I didn't think about him. I cut him off, but I told him, I texted him. I didn't call him, but I texted him and I said, listen, I want to wish you the very best. I'm not upset with you. I wish you the very best, but we can't do this. Okay, I do not accept no side chick type of situations. I know my worth, and I wish you the best. Take care. And, tiptoe. Talk about the range they get when you fall back. Yeah. And he was like, he acted like he didn't care. He was like, bet. Like, okay, bet. And I haven't heard from him, and I'm so happy I haven't heard from him. And then later on this year, I end up with somebody who who's not playing games with me. But I ain't gonna lie, I went into my manifestation room, I call it. I was like, look, God, I'm ready. I want to meet someone, but it was so hilarious because the guy that I ended up with now, we were following each other on Instagram for 4 years. So he's someone I knew of, okay? I knew of him. And that's funny how he was there all along. But, we're in a good place, and sometimes the whole point of me telling y'all that story is we be holding up our blessings. What if I was still dealing with that guy? He's living with some woman in Brooklyn somewhere. And you know what he was trying to do, guys? So what happened was he lives in Brooklyn with this woman who he says is his ex-girlfriend, and it's her apartment, okay? Dusty. And I live in Queens. So he works in Queens. So what you think he was trying to do? He was trying to leave that woman, put the moves on me, get back into my life so he can move in with me. But I guess he thought I was stupid, And if he is a narcissist, he's probably a covert narc, because he's not aggressive at all. But this is what people do. So don't get hype when people from your past try to come back around. And a lot of times people, oh my gosh, maybe we're meant to be. This is my bestie. Maybe this is my husband or my wife. Or no. People are manipulators. They think they're slick. They come to use you. They come to drain you. I closed up my Facebook this year. As soon as the pandemic hit, I felt like Facebook became very toxic, and I closed up my Facebook. Yes, Dusty. Oh my gosh, yes. I closed up my Facebook because it got too toxic after the whole, the big C hit. And right before I closed my Facebook, I had two narcs contact me. And the last time I seen these two narcs, 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Yeah. I only found your page yesterday and hearing about you moving on. Thanks for sharing. Let me see. Yes, eventually I will manifest or ask God, the universe, to send someone who's genuine and not a... Yes. And don't rush it either, because let me tell you, I, the last relationship I was in, I said this in my last video, good, yes, get rid of Facebook, because these are like toxic and narcissistic pools, cesspools are where they get their supply from on social media. So be very careful on social media. I don't have any dating apps at all. Even though I'm seriously dating someone now, I got rid of them even before I met him. I told the universe, like, yo, even though we connected through Instagram, but I'm talking about dating apps. If you want to get scared, there's a show, I think it's on either Netflix or Hulu, about murderers from the internet, okay? So if you want to be scared, watch that. Be very careful if you do online dating. But sometimes we think rekindling people from our past, whether it's a friendship or a lover, like, oh, we're meant to be. No. These demons will come back around to see if they can use you again. I'm talking 10 years ago, I go to my messenger, and this one narcissistic chick, she was disgusting. She was one of those narcissists that would talk to you like a dog in the street and would like to embarrass you in front of people, that type of narc. I said, this bitch got the nerve to, after 10 years, to contact me like, to my, oh, hello, Angie. I hope all is well. You look so beautiful. Be blessed. Happy New Year. What? I was like, this chick is bold. I didn't even respond. I could not believe it. And then another guy, oh, I've been messaging you for years. Can you please answer me? I see that you're online. I'm like, yo, Pete, these docs are crazy. These toxic individuals are crazy, and yes, they will. So don't get flattered. You don't want the narcissist to hoover you. Do not get flattered. Do not get hyped when somebody from your past just pops back up and you remember them being toxic or not appreciating you. Don't get hyped. Don't get happy. Yes. Um, but yeah, I had a lot. And going back to the narcissistic, best friend that I had, um, from 8 to 26, this female narc. I'm telling you, man, you would never think that this girl was this way. And like I was saying, you gotta stop thinking people being nice to you once in a blue moon makes them a nice person. Do you remember that movie People Under the Stairs? I don't know if you guys have watched it. I think it came out like in the late 80s, early 90s. And they had all those people under the stairs, like teens they had kidnapped or whatever. And you gotta understand, for them to live, that means they must have fed these individuals. So you gotta, just because an abuser is feeding you, an abuser is giving you clothes, an abuser is, they tell you they love you once in a while, doesn't mean that they're good people. Okay, my narcissistic stepfather molested me when I was a kid, but as I got older, he would buy me anything I want. I remember when PlayStation came out, he bought me a PlayStation. I remember getting like, remember when like North Faces or Bear Coats or Triple Fat Gooses, like spending hundreds of dollars on coats and Tim's and all those things that you want as a kid, all those name brand items. He bought those things for me. They are willing to do and buy anything to lure you in, okay? I was talking to one of my clients, and I don't want to tell her business. I don't know, she didn't give me permission, but a narcissist is offering for her to sublet an apartment. You gotta understand, these possessions and stuff like that, these nice gestures from these narc friends, it's not because they care. It's to keep you locked into them, okay? I have a couple of friends that when they do things, their way of apologizing to me, they'll say, "Oh, Angie, you want to go out for brunch? My treat. You want to go out for dinner? Oh, I just bought us some tickets somewhere. You want to go? Let's go." No, bitch. I want change behavior. Okay? I want change behavior. And you gotta understand that while you're healing, when you let go of these friends, yes, you have to be willing to change your life. You do. So my last committed relationship was with a narc. That was 5 years ago, before I started this channel. And then that same year, 2015, 2016, I let go of like at least 20 narcissists that I used to hang out with. I had to change my whole entire friendship circle. Okay, so I stayed single for a long time. Yeah, I dated here and there, but it was nothing serious. So I'm not saying it's going to take you 5 years, but it took me 5 years to attract a man that isn't narcissistic, that is on my level mentally, spiritually, and who's willing to grow with me. But that it may not take you that long to find, your woman or your man. And I'm not gonna say I don't feel that I have friends like myself yet. I didn't manifest that yet. I have I have a couple of decent friends, but it's sad to say a lot of them are insecure. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the jealousy. Let's talk about, when you come in the chat, please click like. If you want to donate, you can. My Cash App is in the chat above. It's $ the light 777. If you want to book a combo with me, you can do so. $15 for 30 minutes, $30 for 1 hour. And the information, how to donate and how to book, is in the chat. You have to make your payment first, and then leave your email in the memo, and I will contact you to set up that conversation. We could talk about anything, as long as it's appropriate, okay? But anyway, if you are confident, if you are in your healing stage, if you're confident, if you know your money's good, you looking good, you in the gym, or you on your health journey, you know, you gotta understand, we've already been through enough. We've been through shit with our family. We've been through shit with our lovers, abusive friends. Why are you gonna entertain jealous people? And I think because of the narcissistic abuse, it has us feeling like, oh, we not all that. Because growing up, we were told, oh, you ain't shit, you ain't gonna be shit, you're never gonna be. You get it. So you still stained by that. You don't realize you deserve to have healthy friendships and healthy relationships. So that's why I feel we entertain these toxic friendships, toxic relationships for longer than we're supposed to, longer than we should. We should be nipping them in the bud. And like I say to my clients when we on our phone sessions, if that person is reflecting more than 3 narcissistic or toxic qualities, let them go. Let them go. I do not care how long you've known them, what they're giving you, what they do for you. Let them the fuck go. Let them go. Okay? I got to the point now where I'm no longer attached. And I notice jealousy right away. I notice insecurities. Now, another thing is, if your friends are showing jealousy towards you, you know, or shade, as we say, don't take it personal all the time. It's not that you're doing something for them to come at you like that. It's their own battle with their insecurity. It's their own battle with their inner demons. So don't take it like, well, damn, what did I do to them and how can I fix this? Nope, they have to heal. They got to get on their own journey so they can be able to be a good friend to you and be loving to themselves, okay? And I get this a lot because I already started my healing journey, and, you know, I'm a confident woman. You know, I'm confident in my shit. I don't have a lot, but I feel blessed. I take pride in how I look, you know, how I dress, my hygiene. I take pride in treating people well. And that naturally, when you are confident or when you have something going for yourself, some of you make a lot of money, some of you have a nice car, some of you, you know, you just have a light. That light is going to attract toxic people instantly. Instantly. And you're going to have to protect your light with all of your soul. I'm telling you, it's very seriously. I'm telling you, it's very serious. You're going to have to protect that light. And that light, it does irritate people's demons. That light is going to irritate people. It's not that there's something wrong with you. It's not that you're being cocky or you're shining your light too bright. It's not that. It's just that, imagine if you're insecure. Some of you are still insecure. Imagine you're insecure. You're not to that level yet. And then here comes somebody who comes around and they got their self-love together. That is going to make you feel like shit, right? And that's what's happening. So a lot of times I tend to attract women who don't love themselves. So they feel, oh wow, I admire her. I want to be around Angie because I'm going to take notes of what she's doing. But they're not realizing I didn't just become this. I built this woman that I am. And y'all built the women y'all are. And y'all are building. And you built the man that you are. They think like no, we came up from the flames of hell. We fought to be who we are. We didn't just come into this realm confident. No, we have been through a lot of shit to where we're protecting our light, that we never want to go back to how we were when we worked with the narcissists, or we were with the toxic individuals. But people don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the work like we did, okay? They don't want to realize that it's nobody around them, it's them. They hate themselves. I feel like this. I'm not going to dull my light, and y'all shouldn't dull your light either. Let them go. Everybody can't come on your planet. Everybody can't come on the ship. Why should you change how you dress? Why should you water yourself down? Why should you change the way you love yourself, the way you love life? Because they can't handle it, because they don't love themselves. That's not your problem. And then now I'm realizing that I'm fading to the black, as I say. I'm fading away from these individuals now. There's nothing for us to talk. We go out, we hang out, we're sitting there at the table. I'm like, so how are things? They're like, oh, nothing, They have nothing to fucking talk about. You know why? Because they're not working on themselves. If you work on yourself, if you pick up a new hobby, if you travel alone, or you get to know you, and I understand a pandemic happened or whatever the case is, but that means you have a lot of time to spend with yourself. You by now should love yourself. Click like for me, guys, and you come in the chat. But because I did the work and they didn't, I gotta water down myself. I'm not gonna do it. No. Once you see your frequency is not matching somebody else's frequency, it's time to go. Or sometimes it's time to separate, let them work on themselves, and maybe I will link back up later, romantically or friendship wise. But me personally, I'm not gonna take the outbursts anymore. I'm not gonna take the attitudes. Another thing I notice, people have a problem with my new boundaries. If you cannot handle my boundaries because you don't have any boundaries, that's not my problem. And I notice that about people. They think I'm giving an attitude as if I think I'm better. And I'm sure y'all have been through this before. It's not that I'm better. Don't be hating on me because you let people run over you. You let people talk to you any kind of way. You tell all your business, but I don't. You get what I'm trying to say, guys? I'm sure y'all have been through this before. Let's see. We cannot hang around people we don't want to become. Yes, it's true. And Oprah says, you can't be friends with people who want your life. I love that quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. And I have to tell myself that all the time. I can't be around people who want my life, who want to be me, who's trying to be a mini Angie. And you guys can't do it either. Those are people who could probably end up killing you. They become obsessed with you. It's like they love you, but they hate you at the same time because you're everything that they're not, right? I once learned about narcissism. I come to realize I have some traits, but I'm not one. Yeah, we all have shown narcissistic traits, and I know I have shown narcissistic traits. And I'm going to tell you this. So how I feel I've shown narcissistic traits, and I'm sure y'all have done this too, because of the lack of love, attention, affection that I didn't get in the home growing up. I feel I have placed too much on friends to give me that. And that's, to me, narcissistic. It's like, well, I didn't get this, so you need to give this to me. That's not cool. People can only give you what they have inside of them to give you. So because you love on notch 20 doesn't mean that the person that you're in a relationship with or you're friends with can love you on notch 20. They may only be able to love you on notch 10, and it's up to you to make that decision if you can accept that. You get what I'm trying to say? So to me, that could be selfish and narcissistic when you're trying to squeeze something out of somebody they don't even have. They can only give you what they have. You get what I'm trying to say? So there was a time where I felt, or people felt, I was too needy. I was too needy. And I was, because I was literally starved. We were starved when it came to love and affection. We didn't get it. So we expected it from our friends, or we expected it from our lovers, when in turn we're really supposed to heal first before we get into friendship, heal first before we get into relationships, so that way we're not constantly looking for friends and lovers to fill those voids that we did not fill before we got into these friendships and relationships. Yeah. Okay. Oh, so about 2 weeks ago, which is so crazy because it was hot. It is now 30 degrees in New York. I swear they must be playing with the weather, because 2 weeks ago it was so nice. I was actually walking around Harlem, New York, with no jacket on. That's how nice it was in New York. So I hit up a friend and I said, "Hey girl, you want to come out with me? I'm going to go to Harlem, do a little shopping, get something to eat. Do you want to, hang?" So she said, "Yeah." And this particular friend, she's already shared with me, her business when it comes to her love life, and her business when it comes to her being insecure. And here's another thing I notice about friends who are jealous of us or toxic individuals. So she, I don't want to be mean, guys, because I'm not saying I'm the best dresser, but naturally, you know, um, I have decent fashion sense, just put it that way. Her, on the other hand, she doesn't. She does not know how to put things together. That's true. Depends on how they have been raised. Yes, I'm healing now. We have to know ourselves. Yes, we do. So, yeah, this friend of mine, she doesn't know how to put herself together. Now, she does her hair, but she doesn't keep up with her hair. She does get her nails done, her toes done, She does do those little feminine things, but she doesn't have a lot of feminine energy, because she doesn't have the confidence. In order to have that feminine energy, you need to have that confidence. Exactly, yes, they messing with the weather. So I feel she's attracted to me, not in that way, but she's attracted to me because she admires my confidence. She admires my fashion sense, okay? And definitely they are creating this weather, definitely. And sometimes she's bad, and I notice that, and I'm like, I don't think me and this girl's gonna be friends for long, because that's not that's not cool. Okay, so long story short, she doesn't really dress nice. She doesn't know how to put herself together. And I noticed, because she has called me before and say, "Oh, I'm gonna order this dress. I'm gonna send you photos. Do you think I should buy this, or what should I buy? Where did you get that I saw, you had on the other day?" She does certain things, feminine things, and that's because her mother isn't feminine and didn't teach her. So a lot of times we don't have certain qualities, masculine or feminine qualities, because we weren't taught. We weren't around that energy. I got that quality because my mother was extremely feminine. She taught me about hygiene, my cycle. She taught me how to dress, how to cook. But this particular friend, she doesn't know much about femininity. So anyway, so I notice every chance she gets, so say if I look fly, right? And we meet up, she'll say, well, damn, why didn't you tell me you were going to dress up? I would have tried a little harder. I didn't know we're just going to go eat. I didn't know that you were going to dress up. Guys, I wasn't even dressed up. I was being myself. I wasn't too fancy. I might have had like some heel boots on or some leggings or something. But, my makeup was done, my hair was done, but I wasn't fancy. I didn't have a dress on, but I was just like, well, I said to her, well, you always got to be ready. You never know who you're going to meet. So pay attention to the little small digs. Narcissists do it. You can be fly, you can look perfect, but they'll say, you gonna wear that hat? That looks terrible. And everybody else around you is saying, oh, that hat looks nice. But the narcissist is going, you look weird. You look like a pirate. Why would you wear that? You know? So I noticed, I said, oh, she's jealous. That's the thing that she's jealous about. Whenever your friend is always saying small little comments or small digs, throwing shade about that, that's the one thing that they actually wish they were able to do, okay, or able to have. They wish they had that. They wish they had your sauce, as we call it, okay. And so she's always making comments about my attire, my clothing, and that's because she wished that she had my fashion sense. You know, I was able to kind of deal with it, but now it's getting old. Now it's getting kind of old. Nobody wants to hang out with somebody and they're always throwing small digs at them, making little slick comments, but the entire time they look like shit. How do you have space to talk about somebody's attire when you look like shit yourself? But anyway, um, I noticed that about her. But then I noticed that she also doesn't have boundaries, okay? And a lot of people use her for money. And that's not a boundary right there. You are supposed to be able to say, no, I cannot loan you money. Don't ask me for money. And she's one of those people that whoever she's dating or guys that she's sleeping with or whatever, they use her for money. They use her for sex. They use her. That's not having a boundary. And we all did that before dealing with narcissists, right? You're welcome, P. Taylor. Um, so the same friend that's be hating on my fashion sense. um, okay, yeah. So recently, actually, yeah, we were together, and another small dick she threw at me was, they compare themselves to you, right? So, I know for a fact she can't cook. I've never seen this girl cook ever. Every time she goes to have dinner, she orders food. I figured this out because one day she texted me and she said, she called me actually. She said, well, what did you have for dinner tonight? So I said, oh, I made like a seafood pasta. So she said, well, what was in it? I said, well, I put, scallops and shrimp and salmon. She said, oh, okay. I said, so you gonna cook that? She said, well, I gotta go. Guys, the next day I called her and asked her, did she make the seafood pasta? She said, no, no, no. I called the restaurant near my house and ordered it. So she can't cook at all. So we were in a grocery store, and my man loves my mac and cheese. Like, he said, can you make me a pan of mac and cheese? I said, okay, whatever. So her and I go to the grocery store. So I'm picking up things for the to put in my mac and cheese. So she said, oh, you know what? Mac and cheese is so easy to make. So I said, really? I said, so what do you put in it? She couldn't come up with the things that she puts in her mac and cheese, but she said, oh, I put the same things you put in there, and my family loves it. Mind you, I know this girl cannot cook. I've never tasted her cooking. She never cooks. She orders out. She spends thousands of dollars on Uber Eats, and it's fine. Even if she came to me and said, Angie, can you help me cook? Can you teach me to cook? I would, because that's the kind of friend I am. But to compare yourself, to throw jabs, throw small digs, that's not a friend. So please, guys, pay attention to that. But yeah, so the last straw really for me was, like I said, 2 weeks ago. We're hanging out in Harlem and we're about to get on a bus to go back to Queens. And she goes, no, so I do hair. So I said, oh, I did so and so's hair, a girl that we went to school with. And she said, oh, okay, that's good. She's, well, how's this person? And I said, matter of fact, she made a hair appointment too. So she goes, well, damn, you sound like you're making, good money. How many clients do you have for the month of November? So I replied and I said to her, oh, I don't discuss money or business with friends who aren't in the same field as me. I'm very private about my money. So because I set that boundary, guys, she flipped. I could not believe it. So we're standing there on the sidewalk waiting for the bus, and she goes, I ain't checking your pockets. I ain't trying to check for your pockets. I'm just asking, how many clients you have. I said, well, I'm letting you know that's my boundary. I don't discuss my clientele, how much money I make. I don't discuss it. It's nothing personal towards you. So whenever this happens, it's because these individuals don't have boundaries themselves. Okay. And there's another time that she asked me one day, like, did I have sex with my boyfriend? That's inappropriate, okay? People who ask you about your money, ask you about your sex life, if you're okay with that, I know it's crazy. I know it's crazy essential. It's like, if you're all right with that, that's cool. But when you're enforcing your boundaries and they spaz on you, they flip on you, cut their ass off, okay? So I haven't cut her off, but I definitely feel that our friendship is gonna have to go separate ways at some point. I'm not gonna hang out with her like I used to. This is someone, to me, I look at her as somebody who is emotionally and spiritually sick. Okay? She's emotionally and spiritually ill. You can't be healed. You can't be shining bright. You can't even be working on your healing, hanging out, hanging around emotionally and spiritually sick individuals. You can't. Y'all gonna clash. They're not gonna understand you. They're not going to understand you. They're not going to respect your boundaries. They're not going to respect your growth. They're going to think that you think you're better. But technically you are, because you are making that decision to grow. You're making that decision to live. You're making that decision, yo, F this. I want to be happy. They're not going to be able to handle that. Let me tell you, it was okay when, this is another thing that you need to notice. I'm going to get off soon because I need to get up in the morning and do somebody's hair. But what I notice is, you braid hair, I do my own for now. And she is checking for your, thank you. She was checking for my pockets. I know that. Let me tell you something. When I'm broke, I act broke. When I'm not broke, I act broke. Okay, guys? I feel that people should love you and want to be around you for your character and not your money. Those things are very, very private for me. And I notice also the people that you need to let go is the ones who are comfortable in your lack. So if you're somebody who's had financial problems, but now you have a better job, or you have your own business, whatever it is, your finances has increased. Now all of a sudden they talk, oh, you think you all that because you got a little extra money now, or you got a better car now. Okay, money bags. All right, I see you. They hating on you. They hating on you. Okay. I noticed that about people. They were happy for me when I didn't even have $20 to go out to eat. They're comfortable with that. You got to understand that people, they are comfortable in your lack, and that's an issue. Nope. You need to find friends that they're not comfortable when you're lacking. They're like, yo, what you gonna do? You're gonna have to get a better job. I'm gonna help you fix your resume. Let's find some type of free training for you. That's a friend that wants you to elevate along with them. Okay? Oh, it was cool when I was complaining, oh, men ain't shit, men ain't this, men ain't that. But now, that's not me. I'm like, oh, my baby took me out. He gave me some money. He's picking me up. I'm going to spend the night at his house. I don't have no complaints. He's not dogging me out. I ain't catching with no woman. Now it's silence. None of these women have anything to say. That's a problem. So anybody on my team, now that I see, who is uncomfortable with my joy, uncomfortable with my elevation, they gotta go. They gotta go. They can't stay. And I want that the same for you guys. Anyone, pay attention to their behavior. Anyone that's not happy for you, it's time for you to let them go. Okay? And then you're happy for them, you're not hating on them, it's definitely time for you to let them go. Okay, but I'm gonna jump off, guys, because I didn't want to be on here for more than an hour. I just quickly wanted to talk about this because a new year is coming, and I don't want y'all to go into 2021 with these same trash ass friends, okay? And you got a friend and you're straight, and they're supposedly saying that they're straight. All of a sudden they're trying to push up on you, and they won't take no for an answer. Cut them off. You got a friend that's hating on you, a friend that's biting your style, a friend that's talking behind your back. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. They're not friends. And it's okay. I have a friend that I had to let go this year. Me and him were friends for 20 years. And it was something very small that made us part. It was just time to move on. Do I miss him? I wouldn't say I miss him. I look at it like, we had a good run. We were friends for 20 years. We had a good run. And I wish him the best. But there was something about him that I noticed that was selfish. Friendship should be a two-way street. Okay? You, as you're growing, you're in a crucial time when you're coming out of narcissistic friendships or narcissistic relationships. You're in a crucial time where, you cannot be around just anybody. You cannot be around just anybody. You have to be around positive people, have positive thinkings. You need to be meditating. You need to be listening to affirmations at night or in the morning when you wake up. You need to be in such a high, vibrant state in order to manifest, in order to heal, in order to grow, in order to attract that man or woman that you're trying to attract into your life, and to attract friends. And sometimes you are going to have to spend time alone in order to do so. Okay? And I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I just wanted to come on here and let you know this is your message. Yes, I am doing God's work. This was your message. This was your confirmation tonight, or confirmation this morning, wherever you're located. Let them motherfuckers go. I don't care if both your mamas are friends or both your daddies are friends. It's time to let them go. You don't need to be uncomfortable in friendship just to have somebody to hang out with. And I'm telling you, as soon as you let these individuals go, whether it's a friend or a lover, that's when new energy can come in. And I'm ready to let these individuals go because I'm ready to meet my match friendship-wise. People who just want to have a good life. The rest of whatever is left of this world, rest of this life, I want to meet those type of people. Okay? I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of scared though. I don't trust nobody, but at the same time, you need to be around positive people or people who is on your same frequency in order to manifest, in order to bring more positive people in your life and more blessings into your life. Let me see if there's anybody say anything. There are narcs that will help you get a better source of income too. Okay, yes, that is true. So there are narcs that will do that, but the difference between them and a healthy person is that the narc will always rub that in your face, and they will dangle how they've helped you in your face, and they use that for the connection that you have with them. They will make it seem as if you owe them something, but somebody who did it from their heart, they're not going to do that. Narcissists use money, they use opportunities, they use land, property, all kind of thing. Jewelry, clothes, cars, they use materialistic things and opportunities and positions in higher places. They dangle it in front of you. So you will know the difference in the energy. With the things that they give you or the roads that they open for you, they make you feel as if you are in debt to them. It's a different type of energy, and it never gets better. Okay, it never gets better. They will be picky. They will put you in a position to where you are their slave if they ever did anything for you. I had a narc that told me that dangled, he gave me $40. I said, you know what, I'll cash up you that shit right back. They will use anything, okay, for you to feel like you owe them. They give you money and they give you opportunities so that you feel like you owe them. You have to be nice to them. Like, it's a different kind of energy. But I'm gonna get off now. Thank you for chiming in, guys. I'm definitely gonna come back on probably Friday to talk about something else. But yes, this is your confirmation. You gotta let these shitty friends go. If you want to make a donation, the information is in the chat, and I'm gonna put it in the description area, and I'm gonna put it in the comment section after this video post. It is Cash App The Light 777. I have Zelle, I have PayPal, and you can book. That's Neo Angie 3000 at yahoo.com. And if you want to book a conversation with me, you can do so. $15 for 30 minutes, $30 for 1 hour. Thank you to everybody who has been booking. I am getting more clientele, and I really appreciate it. And if you're ever in like my videos, put down your testimony, of how you like how I helped you, or you like our conversation, so that others can see that I'm out here and I'm not just bullshitting. Okay, I'm really in the healing business. All right, guys. Have a good night. Stay narc free.